Okay. Respected speaker of the day, Mr. Subin Mathew, teacher of the department, my dear students. Good morning and all. First of all, let me introduce our speaker, Subin Mathew. He's a relative of mine. He's my husband's cousin's son. He has done his BTech from Marbacelis College. It's an engineering college at Trivandrum. He has done his MSc of London. He is working at Integration, very reputed company, working as a leading consultant in the field of system architecture and also DevOps engineer. He is also a programmer and open enthusiast. Mr. Subin give us on trends in artificial machine learning, and data analytics. In spite of his whenever I he responded very positively. I'm sure talk would be useful for us, especially our students. On behalf of the college and department, I would welcome Subin to take section without for valuable time. Thank you, Subin. That can start the study.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Subin Mathew, and I like the HOD said, I'm a leading technology consultant. I thank the HOD and the principal and Ebin sir and everyone else who has organized. And before we get into this presentation, I would like to say there are three sections that I would do. One is what is currently happening, what is the next step in AI, and what is happening in the future. And the third one is how can you prepare yourself for future jobs. So let's get started. So first of all, I know that there are students here who are graduating this year. So congratulations. And I'm also aware that there are students in first year and second year. And I want to give all of you a good understanding what this presentation is about. Okay, so I'm not here to help you with giving you an idea how much salary you'll get or where can you get placement or internship, because I don't know the current market in India. But but what I can give you is how to get what is happening right now, and some tips into getting into the job market. How do we face challenges? How can we improve our soft and our soft skills, and make our profile stand out? There are so many people who are passing out every year from engineering colleges, from technical colleges, from science streams like you guys. So I don't want you to be discouraged when you say, "Oh, the job market is less," because truth is the job market. What you have studied right now, നിങ്ങൾ ഇപ്പം പഠിച്ച job market, it's just starting off. So that is why you will not find a lot of placements, but if you know the right terms, you will always get a good place to find a job. So I'm coming from a technology field. What I do is I manage system architecture. What we do is we build complex systems on Google Cloud or Azure or Amazon, and then we scale them. I mean, we get multiple clouds working together and making different applications for various customers around the world. I have over 5 to 8 years of experience. I have 5 to 8 years of experience in IT industry, and before that, I have huge experience in marketing and sales related industry. So I thank all of you for joining, and let's get into what are the current trends. What is actually happening? Okay, നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം നോക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് where is AI and machine learning and data analysis currently used? That has either Alexa or Google Assistant or Siri, something like that. on your phone. Even the bad Chinese phones have at least Google Assistant. So this is one place where AI is using. So what happens there? You have a speech recognition device that understands the speech, and then it translates the speech and takes out keywords and does a search for it, and then they will present you the data. അല്ലേ? അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ റോബോട്ടിക്സിൽ ഒരുപാട് AI വരുന്നുണ്ട്. Um, there are um, there are several robots that are built with artificial intelligence to do certain tasks. So it's not like you have a full robot that is fully functional. നമ്മുടെ robot കോവിലൊക്കെ കണ്ടത് പോലത്തെ അല്ല. You have robots that are meant for a certain task that works with AI. In healthcare, AI and machine learning have been extremely good. For example, very simple. നമ്മുടെ Apple watches, Google watches, ഇതിലെല്ലാം they have a machine learning that has models that have been trained to understand how human heart works. And um, കഴിഞ്ഞ ആഴ്ച വരെ we had a case where one of our family friends who was wearing one of those watches പെട്ടെന്ന് താഴെ വീണു, and then all of a sudden um, the machine started sending messages to a few of our relatives saying, hi, തന്റെ ഇയാൾക്ക് ഹാർട്ടിന് ഏതാണ്ട് ഇഷ്യൂ ഉണ്ട്, we have called the emergency number and ambulance വരുന്നുണ്ട്. Here ഇതാണ് പ്രശ്നം. So you have AI being extremely used in very simple medical to very highly medical pathways. In other stuff like cars, automatic cars, നമ്മുടെ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് ടെസ്ല cars, or even ഇപ്പം ഒരുപാട് ഒരുപാട് സ്ഥലത്ത് AI is also used in helping car manage its efficiency, fuel efficiency manage ചെയ്യാൻ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ driving assistance അല്ലെങ്കിൽ making sure that in countries like Germany and USA and or UK, where lane keeping is really necessary, അവിടെ ഒരേ ലേനിൽ തന്നെ പോകാനും എല്ലാം AI ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഫൈനാൻസിൽ ഒരുപാട് AI is being used in predictive models. For example, ഈ സ്റ്റോക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ മാർക്കറ്റ് ഇനി എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നതെന്ന്, because they take various sources and they crunch the numbers together. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ machine will look at those numbers and say, okay, ഇവിടെ for example നമുക്കൊരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ എടുക്കാം. ഇപ്പം okay, ഇപ്പം everyone is saying there's a recession plan hoping going to come. Why do we think of that? Is because we're looking at all the data that's coming. We see people are spending less, we see companies are making less products. So all these data comes into several systems, and they see, okay, from last 40 years, what was the trend, and using those trends we learn a model, and we say, okay, this can say that there has a chance of recession. So അങ്ങനെ AI is again used. In social media, AI is extremely used. Like when നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഫേസ്ബുക്കിലോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റാഗ്രാമിലോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ടിക്ടോക്കിലൊക്കെ പോകുന്നുണ്ട്, AI is used to give you reels to watch. YouTube uses AI to learn, machine learning to learn about you, so that if you think ഞാൻ 5 മിനിറ്റ് യൂട്യൂബിലോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റയിൽ റീൽ കാണാൻ പോകുന്നുള്ളൂ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു ഇറങ്ങിയാൽ, AI is very smart enough to make sure you watch it for 4 hours. So you can blame AI. ആരെങ്കിലും ചോദിച്ചാൽ, why are we wasting your time watching reels? AI. And also in there are there are many examples. So I've put a QR code here. All the QR code there's only one QR code. You can later scan it, or at the end also I'll make the QR code really big for all of you to scan. I've created a blog where you can go and you can click on all of those links. നമുക്കിനി at the top. So let's get into what's happening with your life now. Ipam, on the left hand side top here, you see an image. This won the first prize for painting അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു കാറ്റഗറിയിൽ ഈയിടെ ജയിച്ചത്. But the funny thing is, this was fully generated by an artificial intelligence. ഒരുപാട് കോൺട്രവേഴ്സി ഉണ്ടായി, പക്ഷേ I have used the software. The software is such a beautiful software. നമുക്ക് എന്ത് വേണമെങ്കിലും you just give keywords and the AI develops based on a keyword. It's quite smart. പക്ഷെ fully smart അല്ല. ഞാൻ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു വേറെ എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞാൽ, I forgot to put that picture. Someone said salmon fish swimming on the river. But the AI only knew salmon as a food. That മീൻ വറുത്തതിന്റെ പിക്ചേഴ്സ് ആയിരുന്നു അവര് വെള്ളത്തിൽ ഇട്ടത്. സോ അങ്ങനെ AI അത്രയും സ്മാർട്ട് അല്ല. പക്ഷേ there are places. So this application has something called as ഒരുപാട് ട്യൂൺ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. And you tune and you get such a picture. Um, in uh, Even in insurance industry, ഈ താഴെ കാണുന്നത്, that is a new application that's coming out where an insurance company uses machine learning to take your driving statistics. Your mobile phones are really powerful. അതിനകത്ത് gyroscope ഉണ്ട്, accelerometers ഉണ്ട്, um, there are motions, various other motion sensors. So all of this will give this app detail on how you are driving. So പെട്ടെന്ന് ബ്രേക്ക് ചവിട്ടിയാൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സ്പീഡ് പെട്ടെന്ന് കൂട്ടോ പെട്ടെന്ന് കുറയ്ക്കുക. So this app always saves it. And then using that and using GPS location to say where you are, it will realize, okay, what kind of driver you are, uh, and all of the see this why am I telling you all of this is so that you know that your field is not just limited to one IT company, or your field is not related to the latest place. In all of these places you would find chances as jobs, chances to be either in machine learning or data analysis or data visualization. Angana, you have a lot of chance, a lot of opportunities to go ahead and apply and go for it. Okay, now let's get into another trend that's happening. Um, there are companies that now come also. I bet നിങ്ങളൊരു പകുതി ശതമാനം പേർക്കും you might have got a message from some company saying, um, ഒരു 1 lakh or 2 lakhs തന്നാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് will make you guys AI engineers. And there are even people who have no education who are going and doing it. So I want you to know the look at the pictures here. ഇവിടെ രണ്ട് pictures ഉണ്ട്. അന്നേരം the task is to stack the balls in this container. അന്നേരം what people tend to do is they could say, okay, I can only stack 3 balls, and others say, no, എനിക്ക് 10 balls stack ചെയ്യാം. But eventually അവരുടെ balls എല്ലാം cut ചെയ്ത് then you cannot even use those balls for playing. So the thing is, it is the role of education, role of going 2 years ഇങ്ങനെ കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യുന്നതിന്റെ പ്രയോജനം is you know what pressure is. You know how to do literature reviews. You know how to go through different literature and ഓരോ പുതിയ മെറ്റീരിയൽ നോക്കുക, വായിക്കുക, to work with it and say, okay, is this good for me or is it bad for me? And then using those, from those places you can make your own judgment. Being novel എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ you are getting new ideas from it rather than taking an old idea. So these things is what your education teaches you. This 2 years of college teaches you that. And that a 30 days course or a 6 months AI crash course cannot help you. Yes, if you are interested in AI, if you're interested in machine learning, if you're interested in data analysis, go for the course after or while you're studying this course. That's really good. But don't be discouraged when people say, oh, why are you going to a college when you could go and study a 6 months course? Because in those courses what you learn is just how to get from A to B, but not understanding what A is and what B is and what are other ways from getting from A to B. You only learn what is just enough to do their examples and their task. So do not be discouraged. അതാണ് ഞാൻ ഇപ്പോൾ പറയാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. Okay, this is a very simple picture. This is from IT perspective. So I'm coming from an IT background. So from an IT perspective, um, we have this picture everywhere. Like the client പറഞ്ഞത് പറഞ്ഞ് explain ചെയ്തു, oh, എനിക്ക് അത് വേണം ഇത് വേണം, and then as it trickles down to finally the developer, he builds something. It does not swing. അയാൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഊഞ്ഞാലായിരുന്നു, പക്ഷേ it ends up being something just tied to a string because of the way people were explaining it. In fact, the real thing the client needed was just one tire with a string on it. So it's trend. The more you read into trends, more you look into the matter, more you talk about it, only then you will understand what exactly is a goal of a project. So the best thing is saying we should not assume. We should not assume that um, just because you heard one term like linear regression ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് മാത്രം കേട്ടാൽ suddenly ഇത് linear regression പറ്റത്തുള്ളൂ. But rather you have to go through, keep asking what is possible in this situation, understand the full picture before we even jump into a thing. Okay, next one. Okay, now this is the second part. This is what is possible for all of you in one way or other. Okay, so if you look at data sciences, what is possible? See, this is the group of company that said, okay, you can either be a data scientist, a data engineer, a big data engineer, a machine learning scientist, a business analyst, data visualization developer. I'll give you an example what it is. You see, there are different roles. Most of these roles can be classified into few things. So, one, data and where do we get our data from? Your data you get from sensors. ഇപ്പം like the case of insurance company measuring how person drives, you get sensors from different mobile phones, and then you see, okay, uh, this is our data. Or if it's like I know most of the final year students did a project on cancer research, so your data comes from the cancer institutes. And that is the first step: getting your data, selecting your right sources, and making sure the sources are valuable and can be validated. Saying, okay, these sources are not bad sources. Other kind, the next step is where your work comes also. So as data scientists, I think data science, data engineering, the most thing what you do is you look at cleaning the data, because 90% of the data that you get is very messy. They have one person may fill the data in one way, one person may fill the data another way. So you clean up the data, you look and you say, okay, there is full stop it and the comma it and the comma it. So your data is not clear. You start cleaning the data. And then you like, for example, in Alliance, and their cousin is working there in Art Alliance, and one of her job is to clean the data, and she does that using Excel. It is Southern Excel, and they do huge data analysis through Excel. They have macros and small programs running on Excels, and they use this to make sure the data is cleaned and they're normalized. Normalized data are the only ones that we can use for proper analysis. And then you learn to save it properly. You learn to put it in a right place, or you learn to fetch the data and save it properly. And then, like imagine there is YouTube. YouTube in the video കാണുക. So YouTube also measures all our data. Where are we pausing the video? When are we starting the video? And or when are we clicking skip? So YouTube takes all this data, and imagine at YouTube in the side you have almost billions of data coming in every second. So you need somewhere to save this data properly. You need somewhere to normalize and say, okay, these data are from pauses, these data from skips, and then you work around with that. Then from that you create a model saying, how is this data? How, so you take an end goal. So that's what a machine learning engineer does. They take an end goal and say, okay, I want to know how many pauses a person plays per 1 hour. And then you look at the data and you start creating predictive models saying, okay, this looks like a pause. You first analyze every pause and our pause you mark it and you tell the AI to look at those pauses and say, here is the kind of pauses. So take these pauses and now start making a table out of it. And from this table, you start saying, can we predict when the next pauses? Angina, you start training new ways to the get the next step. So when you have done that, imagine ഒരാൾ ഒരു video കാണുക and every 30 minutes they make a pause. Then um, the AI can then send that person an advertisement every 30 minutes, because അവർക്കറിയാം ആ സമയത്ത് അയാൾ പോസ്റ്റ് എടുക്കാൻ പോവാ, ആ 30 മിനിറ്റ്സിൽ ആഡ് പ്ലേ ചെയ്താൽ യൂട്യൂബ് gets money. അങ്ങനെ they don't have to now wait for the video to be paused. The video will automatically be paused because an ad is playing in that time. Then the person who always likes to take a 30 minutes break between watching a video, പുള്ളിക്ക് ചായ കൊണ്ടിരിക്കാനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ടു ബയോ ബ്രേക്ക് എടുക്കാനോ പോകുമ്പോൾ the ad is playing. And so from YouTube side, the ad is being shown to the person. So they make, so using such methods, they can also now optimize and push it up to many people, not just one person. They use similar models and make more value out of it. This is what actually happens on a very day-to-day industry. So for a future perspective, you could call yourself into four categories. One, data engineers. They are the ones who clean the data, get the data ready. So if there's a source of data. From the data source, you get the data, you save the data using something called the data pipeline. And then you find a way to take the data. So this is a big job. There are people paid really well for just doing that. So there will be source of data, and our data there are several applications that you can learn, and that application's only job is take the data, clean it, save it. That's all. Then the machine learning engineers take those data and try to generate a model. The data scientists use these models to simulate a real life situation, and then they come out with an analysis saying, here, this is what is the trend, this is what is happening with the data. And the data analyst looks at this, and they also connect to data visualizers, people who make this data ഒരു നല്ല graph ഒക്കെ ആക്കി presentation വെച്ച് കാണിക്കാനുള്ളത്. So basically this is how you can divide your data science into four different streams, and each stream is a very big stream. um, there are people who says, okay, I'm not interested in doing the data engineering part, any models created now. Like, when I look at something, I see a pattern. So you know like, good example, um, my wife likes to watch criminal movies, crime movies, and after like watching half an hour, I will not understand anything. But my wife's like, oh yeah, this person has this thing, this person has this thing. Nalla movie anengil, she is 90% right. അതേപോലെ she has this natural ability to say, okay, എനിക്കൊരു if I see something, I can find out if there is a pattern in this. And there's another friend of mine. She was working in a call center. She noticed every few days there will be one error happening to every customer, and she said, okay, every 3 days, she started writing it down on a normal notepad and said, oh, okay. And then she was able to understand, okay, this day will also be the same error. And then she gave it to a manager. The managers were able to look into the system and find out there was some issue with the database. So this is a machine learning engineer's job. Look for patterns and then create models that can prove that pattern. So Adina, you have a lot of different algorithms that you use. A good number of algorithms are stuff that you've studied already in your statistics. So those who are joining new in statistics, you will come across really beautiful algorithms that will help you understand. And I have a list of that also on the blog. Next one. So this is what I've been saying. This is a workflow. Data engineers, they take, now these are some keywords, they take ingestion. Ingestion means taking the data in. Pre-processing means cleaning up the data. Storaging and cataloging. The machine learning guys take and create models, and അല്ലെങ്കിൽ MLOps, machine learning operations. They do that. Data scientists, they add feature training. That means they take a small portion of this data and train it for a certain thing. They train the models as machine learning engineers have developed, and they evaluate how good the model is in predicting. And then the analysis, they look at the data and say, okay, what can be predicted out of it, or what can be shown from this, and they present it in a manner that can be given to executives of the company or decision makers that can make better decisions. So we'll take 1 minute break here. 1 minute, a 10-second break before we go into the next topic. So you have a great opportunity, and one of the ways to find that opportunity is also working freelancing projects, taking projects that are publicly available, take those projects, work with them so that or see how they work, read white papers. White papers are free documents how each company has done their job. So take those stuff and read it and say, oh, okay, they took one data from here and then they thought of this idea and they've built something out of it. And learn, see wherever examples, look for data engineering examples or companies that use data engineering. Simply Google those stuff. അത് Google ചെയ്ത് നമുക്ക്, then you will have a better understanding to say that, okay, my job is not to be just you know whenever people say you're a statistician, most of the time people think you're either going to weather prediction or population statistician, but that is not. Or we say, "Oh, I learned Python in the പറഞ്ഞാൽ, most people think, oh, ഇനി ഏതെങ്കിലും IT കമ്പനിയിൽ Python program ചെയ്യണം. Python is basically also used for web, but then web development പഠിക്കണം. No, there is your field. You can you can use it for everything. You can use it even for predicting. Like and I have a few friends who are in Trivandrum who made a small final year application. They made a small a device that records if a person is happy. Restaurant വെളിയിൽ they had put happy, not happy in the രണ്ട് button വെച്ചു, and then they kept it outside every restaurant, and then they caught the data, and then they said when and then they found then they said gave those data to the the shopkeepers, and they were good to know. And then what the shopkeepers did was amazing. They took this data and they found out customers were not happy, especially during 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And can you guess why? The reason is 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock ആണ് അതിന് കഴിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. And that means there are so many people in the restaurant and so many, അന്നേരം ഒരുപാട് വെയിറ്റേഴ്സ് അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും എല്ലാം ഓടുന്നു. ദർ ഇസ് ചിലർക്ക് ചോദിച്ച കാര്യം കിട്ടുന്നില്ല. That those help, even the smallest thing like that helps businesses. Like we cannot look at business going to help with multi-billion company. Um even the 100 million company or 10 million company, or even that Masharavana Bhavan hotel അല്ലെങ്കിൽ another Bhavan. I don't know. Those hotels can work very well with data when data is properly calculated, when data is properly done. So you have opportunities. You have opportunities everywhere to look and say, how can I fix a problem? Okay, now we have done that. Now we have a bit of relaxation. Let's get into two topics that are coming in Europe and in Japan and in Asia. So Europe, Asia. Currently, what are the two topics out of many thousand topics that people are looking into artificial intelligence and saying, what is wrong with artificial intelligence? First one is called trustworthy AI. So this is from my company, presented a paper a few months ago in June, I think. They said, you see, normal AI train ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, how do we train AI? You say send a picture in and you keep training it so that it produces the same result. And then the first picture is a giveaway sign. അത് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, when you're at a crossing, you should first let the other cars go and then only you can go. So that's a giveaway sign. And the machine that teaches it, we teach the machine how to read the sign, and then we tell, okay, this is how you should interpret when you get to the sign. But what happens is, imagine there's some way someone has given a bug or a virus or something that messed up the algorithm, and then they say, oh, this sign, when you see the sign, it means actually a deer is crossing. Because artificial intelligence is only as intelligent as how much we train it and how much of the training is correct. So we cannot expect it. I'm sorry. 20 millimeter. Sorry. Okay. How much of the training is correct? So, so then what will happen is, imagine there's an automatic car. I mean, an AI generated car, and it has got this data. So instead of waiting at the road, it will just think, okay, I'll have to be cautioned that there will be animals crossing it. So I'll also turn my animal detection on and drive. And naturally accidents will happen. So you need AI that can be trustworthy. And the European ethics guidelines have given 6 steps saying how can we make AIs ethically or trustworthy. They said, AIs are to be built so that they could help human beings and are controlled by human beings. Uh, the data and the algorithms are transparent without giving unintentional bias. That means just because one company wants it this way, you cannot do that. So next one is it should help the environment and other living beings, and the design of AI should ensure accountability and responsibility. That means companies that design it should be accountable for the AI. They cannot blame the AI and say, "Oh, ഞങ്ങളുടെ പ്രശ്നമല്ല, the AI യുടെ പ്രശ്നം," but rather saying, "Yeah, we are accountable for that. That the AI is not working properly," and they should be able to track back and say, "Okay, ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചാൽ we need to make the fix immediately." Next one, explainable AI. Okay, so this is the second of the two new trends that I saw and I'm quite excited about. So how is AI trained? AI training, and first you take the data, then you process it, and then you use the process to create models, and then it says an output. This is what has been happening all this while. So, Basha, now imagine this. Um, we're going to take USA because of course, politically, I'm away from any responsibilities. So in USA, the black community has often got less loans. There was racial segregation. Like നമ്മുടെ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ കാസ്റ്റ് സിസ്റ്റം പണ്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്ന പോലെ there was racial segregation why the blacks were not given loans. Now imagine you take that data for the last 20, 30 years or 50 years, and then you start processing it. Naturally, the AI will think, let's not give the black people enough credit, enough loan, because they've never got loan because they cannot be trusted. പക്ഷേ AI does not understand that there was a social economical change. There was a place of racial segregation. AI doesn't know that. AI looks at data. In AI's data, they look, okay, the Caucasian was given this much loan, the Asians were given this much loan, the black people were given 10% lesser than all. Okay, so this is how I am training myself. So what happens is, um, in the future, when AI takes care of processing loans, what would happen is the loans for the black community would be really bad because the historical data, നമ്മൾ train in the data അനുസരിച്ചാണ് AI future work ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So the data is messed up. That is extremely wrong. So what now people are doing is they take something called as explainable models. So even though the AI, we don't know what's actually happening in the neural network, when the AI tells why this is a cat, why the loan is not given, it says it says is the reason why it is. So here it says it has fur, it has whiskers, it has claws. In the പറയുമ്പം, okay, these are the reasons why the AI thought that it is a cat. But fur, whiskers, and claws can be even a lion, tiger, or any of the cat species. So then naturally we'll know where the AI is failing, and we can retrain it properly. And we train, so we don't have to retrain it from zero to now. We can just train it to make it more perfect. Or if there's something else that is wrong, we can remove that and say, okay, do not look at this portion, make sure you only train on this. So this is what explainable AI does. So explainable AI and trustworthy AI are two new topics that are coming. So when you go for interviews, or when you're interested to learn more, I have also put everything in the document. Okay, now next one. Um, this is the last and the major step. This is especially good for those who are passing out, so that you understand ഇനി അടുത്തത് എന്തോ ചെയ്യണം. First one, transferable skills. So, you know, whenever we write CVs and whenever we write about, when people ask, okay, can you tell me about yourself? One of the biggest mistakes that we make is we can only say, oh, in the college, in my college, I got first mark, I got first class or second class or whatever, and or I was the topper in the class. And most of the time, you don't even know what you have to say. So, but then there's something called transferable skills. That means um, there are normal daily skills that you as a person do. For example, in my company, there's a housewife who has joined in um, housewife who has joined in the industry as IT. Now, if you ask what is your what's your professional training, she has nothing. She did not go for work for at least 10 years now. But if you ask, does she have leadership and management skills? Yes, a housewife. She had three kids. അന്നേരം മൂന്ന് പിള്ളേരെ മൂന്ന് ടൈമിലാണ് സ്കൂളിൽ വിടേണ്ടിയെ മൂന്ന് പിള്ളേർക്ക് സെപ്പറേറ്റ്ലി വൈകുന്നേരം ഇരുന്ന് പഠിപ്പിക്കണം, അവരെ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യണം, ഹസ്ബൻഡിനെ നോക്കണം, വീട് നോക്കണം, ഹൗസിന്റെ ബഡ്ജറ്റ് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യണം. And all of this stuff are transferable. You can take the same stuff, വീട്ടിൽ വീട്ടിൽ 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, I don't know how much people spent. 5,000 rupees monthly spend ചെയ്യുന്ന ആള് can use the same amount and say, okay, instead of 5,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees of 500,000 rupees, I can use the same thing to manage and budget a company. See, when you join a company, you are not the manager of the company. You are joining as one of the many employees in the company who are being taken care of by a manager. So for example, show your leadership skills. If you are, ഇപ്പം ചർച്ചിലോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും ചാരിറ്റിയിൽ you worked supporting, bring that out. കോളേജിൽ കോളേജിൽ in case you have done youth festival or arranged tables, just simply youth festival chair arrange ചെയ്തു. That is still places to show that you took care of some organizational task. You can always bring it out, and I bet your HOD will give you a recommendation also based on that. Then like direct marketing. Direct marketing is very important today. Going to college festival put donation at that's direct marketing. You're that is still something that you can show in your CV. Did you do a project alone? Then you could say I worked on doing complicated tasks with minimal supervision. Did you do a project as a team? I am a very good team player. You have to learn a new language. You can say, okay, these are the new languages that I learned, either computer languages or natural languages. And also, I'm a very fast learner. See, you have all those skills that you are not presenting on your CV because you think they're not related to the job. But these are transferable skills, and many companies are now coming to recognize that and say, okay, these skills you can show. Next slide. Preparing your resume. Okay, this is from my personal side. I want to make sure that all of you do this really properly. Please, no one write superboys with a Z at gmail.com as your email address on your CV. That is really silly. Professionals are. Get something like first name, last name at gmail.com or outlook.com. Some good website like Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo. Don't go for ymail.com. Just go for something very big company, because one, you have you get better data saving. They have more space to save. Secondly, many people in the world know that. Make your CV short to the point. And also when you write stuff, don't write, my name is Shamlal, I've been working with two members and making data models you recognize. അങ്ങനെ say exhibited skills as team player in the new Indic numeral recognition project. When you put those just അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും words തിരിച്ചിടുമ്പം, they bring a bigger impression about you. It's the same thing. You worked to recognize Indian numerals. Instead of doing that, change the words around, make it in such a way that it'll stand out. they bring more value. um, because when people read it, they say, oh, okay, it's just a psychological thing. Even the person, HR, your CV, Wagon HR, HCV, Wagon managers, they're just human beings. So that is where the first thing goes. Always add a cover letter. CV യിൽ എഴുതി നേരെ കോപ്പി അടിച്ച് കവർ ലെറ്റർ എഴുതല്ലേ. CV യിൽ എഴുതി I have first class in business management or first class in data statistics. Don't write I got first class in data statistics. They have a CV on. They will read it from the CV. Write things that you want them to know. Like the example I told you, there's a housewife who joined. So in her CV, she had very less stuff to add, but on her cover letter, she was able to explain why she was not working for 10 years. She said, I had 3 kids and I had to take care of them, and part of my responsibilities for my family was this, and this. That's such a powerful thing to do, and always be courageous. No, how much ever people reject you, there will still be opportunities for you. India is a very big country. The world is very, very big. There are enough and more people required, because you have now, especially with data based industry, the data industry, there are so many opportunities that are coming up. Till now, we have not looked into every opportunity, and now a lot of opportunities are coming up. And one more thing, this is, don't be discouraged. For example, I'll give you three examples here. This girl posted. She said they wanted 8 years of experience in Swift. But the truth is, Swift only came 5 years ago. Like the HR or the job requirement, it is now people have no idea about what is what. Here, this is a ഭയങ്കര costly job, $160,000 കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു job ആയിരുന്നു from a company called Cyber Coders. They said you need to have 10 years of Carbon experience. Carbon is the newest programming language, and it's made by Google. And അത് നമ്മുടെ C++, പഴയ C++നെ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് it's much better in data management, much better in garbage management ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു നല്ലൊരു സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ആണ്. It's still in beta version. It came out on the 19th of July this year. But ഒരു 10 ദിവസം കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ് we got this, everyone in LinkedIn, we saw this thing saying this company is saying they want 10 years of experience in Carbon. Yeah, like Carbon ഇറങ്ങിയിട്ട് 10 ദിവസമായുള്ളൂ. So um, people have, and this is Sebastian Ramirez is a person who made an application using Python called Fast API. And he saw a job. He had 4+ years of experience in Fast API, but this is a person who made that Fast API in the application. He only made it 1.5 years ago. He said, even I am not qualified for the job. So, people, the job market is really messy. You do not have to be discouraged when they say you need this much years of experience or you need this much amount of knowledge. Okay. Now, and while you're waiting, learn stuff. Learn about data visualization. There are free places in Tableau. In When I was in my engineering college, we had created. We have been part of something called as FOSS, or FOSI. I don't know the current name in India right now. This open source community. There, you have people who are um, willing to help you develop your programming skills, develop interest in Linux, because Linux is really used. Linux is used in almost every place. And the Windows മിക്കവാറും program that happens on Linux because they are cheaper. You don't have to pay for a license, and they're also faster. Learn about data visualization. That's really important. And instead of making TikTok reels on how to do the latest dance, have visualization. You just get random data, like saying, okay, like for example, one of the greatest things that's happening in India is the Indian rupees value is increasing. So plot it nicely on a graph and show on YouTube or show on this one. Make yourself known. See, get a LinkedIn account. Very important. Get a LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, create an account, write. Get your name, get a good background, get a good picture, a professional photo, create it, and then keep just putting data here. And there's a LinkedIn has saying looking for job. എന്നുള്ളൊരു ഇതുണ്ട്. So you can turn that on and keep putting in data as much as possible, like making different graphs, making the and also GitHub is something important. GitHub is a free place to create and save your code. And if you guys want help or something with GitHub, I can also come another day and give you a small talk on GitHub and the next, how to get professionally, those are കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം. But get a GitHub account. Just go to github.com, and I put all of this in the QR code that you'll see in 5 minutes. Um, get there, add stuff, talk to people, and keep practicing different stuff. Also, learn to do good presentations. Look at there are also some Instagram on Instagram reels and YouTube reels. We have now people showing how to play around with Excel. Copy their examples, copy the model, because BIBA, business analyst and business intelligence agent, um, in those fields, most of the stuff is data cleaning, and they do a lot of this using Excel. um, SQL is very important in data engineering. The first part, how do we get data, where do we save data? So it's also really good. Okay, just quickly, agile is something that in IT world, younger world, is very important. It's a way, okay, you would build a website, and after 6 months only you'll show the clients. Agile shows it every 2 weeks, and that's using something called Scrum. Scrum is just a method. And to show that you use something called Jira കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, and then you write your documentation or an application of Confluence. All of these are freely available, and I put a list of this. You can, on the web blog, you can actually go and read it, and you can Google it. Machine learning operation, ML ops, that's for machine learning operations. How do you save data, get data? What's the data pipeline? Um, and even in web development, we have something called front end. Front end is what you see. Back end is all the Java and Python that runs behind the software. What are databases? And another thing is clouds. ഞാൻ പെട്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു പോകും, because these are terms that you have to Google. You'll have to Google, and you'll have to slowly get your interest in. Not everyone is interested in this. There are different cloud providers. Cloud providers, and instead of having your own server, they are companies which with a lot of money, with a lot of space, with a lot of good machinery that has the same servers built massively. And one is Amazon, Azure is from Microsoft, and GCP is from Google. Um, there are also data in data field, Apache Spark, Apache Kafka, Apache Cassandra. They all are different ways to save data, get data to some valuable. um, Big data and you have not just you have petabytes of data, or like ഒരുപാട് million datas sources വരുന്ന അതിനെ എങ്ങനെ crunch ചെയ്ത് ഒരു reasonable meaning ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന is you use something called Hadoop. And Hadoop is no longer used because people have built software on top of Hadoop that can use Hadoop. So it is, but there are good things that if you're waiting, if you finished your college and you have some time, or even if you're in first year and you have a summer holiday, or if Christmas holidays വരുന്നു, to just get you excited, read about this and see how it works. Last 2 minutes. Okay. Interview always check sound. Like others, what happened online with our call today. Get a backup internet, and also talk when നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഇന്റർവ്യൂവിലാണ്, talk to the HR and say, hey, sir, ma'am, ഇതാ പ്രശ്നം, എനിക്ക് നെറ്റ് പോകുമോ എന്നറിയത്തില്ല, മഴ പെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ, സോ പോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ ഏത് നമ്പർ തിരിച്ചു വിളിക്കണം. So have a contingency plan and always dress accordingly. Wear a nice shirt and so. Another thing, another thing is in interview, if it's online, because of a lot of online interviews, you can also create a presentation. You could say, if you're scared, see, I'm a person who's always scared to talk about myself. So what I do is, for every online interview that I had, I would always present a small slideshow about myself. This is my name, this is what I did, this is where I am. So I have something to always look at and present and talk. If it's in presence, directly. not online, offline ആണെങ്കിൽ get there on time, bring copies of your CV, copies of your certificate, whether the certificate എടുത്ത് കൊടുക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല, just show your certificates. If they say they want the certificates, you verify, you said, okay, that's only after they have hired you. And also, have a small chat with HR. How are you? How is everything? That will help us cool down before the interview. Last part. This is a very personal thing to me because I'm a person who has strong ethical values, and when you're using data visualization, be ethical. See, for example, I don't know what this Salem talk is, but um, I saw this example, and here, if you look at this thing, um, this is bad visualization. First one, because you see, 2010 we performed bad, 2011 we performed really good, but in reality, yeah, just 10 more points than this. But because they messed up the graph, it makes it really look so bad, right? So be ethical. Use technology for good. With that, I'm done with my presentation, and thank you. And here is the QR code, and you can all ask questions.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
So nowadays, especially in India and in Kerala, we're facing major unemployment crisis. So according to our area of interest, how can we see a job with our area of interest? Especially during social media, like it may can lead to frauds and scams.
Okay. How do we do that? Give me 1 minute. Let me think through it. So, see, with every first job, it is always a risk. But you know, at the moment in India fully, even in Kerala, the same trends continue. Um, your job market is a little messed up because there are people who have 5 years experience earning 2 lakhs per annum, and there are people with 10 years experience earning 1 lakh per annum. So you have really bad you have very bad competition that's going on in India right now. Um, so the best thing as a fresher to do is, yes, you can always ask for more salary if you want, if you think you have the skills, but only if you have the skills will companies come and take you. And my advice is, even if you go to a small company, even if you start off at a very small company that just takes um, that just takes data from a bank and say, okay, we'll crunch in numbers for you, we'll make some meaning for you from this. Then as a beginner, you get a lot of exposure into various methods how you can do it. Yes, the big IT firms, they have a high chance of streamlining you and making you into something really good. But um, but the problem is, for those jobs there are extreme competitions, and sometimes the best way to avoid this extreme competition and have a good start is doing small projects wherever you can, so that you build your profile automatically. Like, you don't give up. Like, my parents, all of our parents will support us for at least 6 months, after till 6 months, on a normal level, um, after we finish our degree. So that means that 6 months you have time to go do as much as small jobs as possible to build your skills, because only when your skills are really good, you can get a um, good place in a bigger company. That is my best advice at the moment. I mean, I am not really sure what else I can give you at the moment.
Anybody who wants to ask certain questions, please ask now. The batch was left out this year. Abarna, Devika, ask us. Any doubts you can clear. Gada,
Here, scan the QR code. Yeah, that QR code will not send me any money. Don't worry.
Scan.
Wait,
Okay,
I'll show you what.
okay.
Yeah, so this is where the QR code will lead you. Every link that. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, so like there are places called Kraggle, which is really good for those who are interested in machine learning and data, and they will teach you how to use everything that you learned to create good models.
Subin, can you send the QR code again?
Yeah.
Yes. Done. Already done. Subin,
Yes.
are you busy? Do you have time
I have
to spend some more 5
10.
minutes?
Yeah, I have 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody wants to ask question, please ask. (2022) batch. Those who completed us. If you have any doubts, please ask now. Doubt ഒന്നും ഇല്ലേ?
Everyone is smart teachers.
Okay, then thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I invite Ajimol to propose the vote of thanks. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Ajimol.
Good afternoon, everyone, to one and all present here. On behalf of my college, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest Subin sir, who spared time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this was surely too going to encourage us in your as our future events. Once again, thank you, sir, for your informativeness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Subin. Thank you. I'll call you in the evening. Bye. Want to say something?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and all the best to all of you.
Okay.
And yeah, I have given my LinkedIn profile also in that thing, so you can also contact me on LinkedIn. And
Oh,
all right, bye bye.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye bye.